Good evening and welcome to TVB News. A U.S. surveillance drone was involved in an incident with two Russian fighter jets over the Black Sea, sparking a war of words between the two sides. Washington says that one of the Su-27 jets clipped the drone's propeller and made it crash into the water. Russia accused the U.S. of provocation by flying unmanned aircraft close to its borders and denied its planes had come into contact with the American drone. Nazvi Karim reports.
From proxy to provocation, this is Moscow's take on the drone incident over the Black Sea, the first physical contact between US and Russian military hardware since the start of the Ukraine war. Washington says its MQ-9 Reaper drone was on a routine mission in international airspace over the Black Sea. Russia then sent two Su-27 fighter jets to intercept the drone. Washington said one of the Russian planes clipped the unmanned aircraft's propeller, prompting the US military to bring it down.
Several times before the collision, the Su-27s dumped fuel on and flew in front of the MQ-9 in a reckless and unprofessional manner. This incident demonstrates a lack of competence in addition to being unsafe and unprofessional.
Moscow has a different story, saying its fighter jets did not come into contact with the unmanned aerial vehicle and the drone crashed after making a sharp maneuver. Russia has accused the US and its Western allies of fighting a proxy war by supplying Ukraine with tens of billions of dollars of weapons and other aid. Russia's ambassador to the US, Anatoly Antonov, says NATO does not recognize Crimea in the Black Sea, which Moscow annexed in 2014 as part of Russia.
But does it mean that it's necessary to provoke Russian Navy or Russian Air Force on this issue? You see that what will be reaction of United States if you see such Russian drone very close, for example, to San Francisco or New York? What will be reaction of United States?
Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin, during a visit to a helicopter factory in Siberia, rejected US media reports that vigilante Ukrainians were responsible for blowing up the Nord Stream gas pipelines last year in the Baltic Sea. He said the US is interested in stopping Russian energy exports to Europe so it can supply its own gas at a much higher price. Near Moscow, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu urged workers to double their production output during a visit to a factory making missiles. This as reports emerge that Russian forces are running low on ammunition at the front lines of the war. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
The Honduras President, Xiomara Castro, said Tuesday she had asked the country's foreign minister to open official relations with Beijing, pressuring Taiwan ahead of a sensitive visit by the island's leader Tsai Ing-wen to the U.S. and Central America. Castro had floated the idea of starting relations with Beijing and cutting ties with Taipei during her electoral campaign, but said in January 2022 she hoped to maintain ties with the island. If the Central American country does end relations with Taiwan, it will leave the island with only 13 diplomatic allies. Meanwhile, China welcomes Honduras' decision to establish diplomatic relations, Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin said at a press briefing in Beijing today. North Korea says the latest missiles fired into the sea were a training exercise to get their military ready to annihilate the enemy. South Korea and the U.S. have condemned the tests. North Korean state media, The Workers' Daily, posted two images of yesterday's launch. South Korea described the projectiles as short-range ballistic missiles, which they say traveled over 600 kilometers. This comes as the South and its ally, the United States, continue to hold army exercises that will last nearly 2 weeks. Pyongyang has said the drills represent a rehearsal for an invasion and proof of hostile policies. London's iconic underground train system is at a standstill today. Drivers and station staff are on strike in a dispute over pensions and conditions. It follows other recent industrial action, but this is the first time since 2015 the entire network has been shut down. Unions ordered a walkout and it has won a number of disputes challenging the UK government. Junior doctors are on the picket lines for 3 days. This follows strikes by nurses, postal workers and other transport employees. National Health Service staff say continuing low pay and long hours is unacceptable. Some teachers have refused to attend schools and colleges in England today in another dispute. Chief Executive John Lee visited the Ministry of Science and Technology in Beijing today and signed deals to put Hong Kong on the pathway to becoming a technology and innovation hub. Lee and his delegation met with Minister of Science and Technology Wang Zhigang. They exchanged ideas on how Hong Kong can play a part in the nation's development. The two sides signed an agreement to work together and speed up the establishment of an international innovative technology hub in Hong Kong. Wang said he fully supports Hong Kong researchers and hopes to bring together local and overseas talents. Meanwhile, Lee thanked the central government for its support and said this signifies a new chapter in the city's bid to become an influential innovation hub. Lee also visited the Ministry of Culture and Tourism and had talks with the head of the ministry, Hu Heping, before proceeding to his next stop, the General Administration of Customs. Police are hunting for a man who's believed to know the woman found dead at her home in Kwai Chung yesterday in what appeared to be a murder and burglary case. Sources say the suspect entered the flat with keys but failed to pry open a safe containing jewelries and documents.
Police investigations continued today at Block 3 of Kwai Fong Terrace. At around 7 p.m. last night, police arrived at the building after receiving reports from residents. Officers inspected vehicles going in and out of the housing estate. They then searched the car park and cordoned off an area where a piece of clothing was found. According to the police, a 63-year-old woman who owned an apartment there was found dead in her unit. There were signs of ransacking in the apartment and a blood-stained crowbar was seized.
Chen
Chi Cheong of the New Territories South Regional Crime Unit said the victim returned home at around 2 to 3 p.m. on Tuesday when the suspect was trying to steal things inside the apartment. The suspect then attacked the victim with the crowbar and killed her before fleeing the scene. Police investigations suggest the suspect is a Chinese man who's believed to know the woman. Officers say they are confident the suspect has been identified and a manhunt is underway. Police say some valuables in the flat have gone missing and there are signs of a failed attempt to pry open a safe. The woman lived with her boyfriend, who said he had lost contact with her after having lunch together on Tuesday.
Still ahead on tonight's news. Police clash with protesters in Pakistan as officers try to arrest former Prime Minister Imran Khan. A LegCo subcommittee approves the establishment of 7 new posts for the Chief Executive's Policy Unit at an annual cost of $25 million. And possible cancer-causing contaminant found in some dried meat samples tested by the Consumer Council. Welcome back to TVB News. Pakistan's police were met with angry protests as they tried to arrest former Prime Minister Imran Khan at his home in Lahore. The clashes turned violent as hundreds turned out to defend the opposition leader. Khan, accused of corruption, says he'll defend himself in court and claims the charges are politically motivated. David Garrett has more.
Hundreds of supporters of Imran Khan's PTI party form a protective human cordon around the politician's Lahore residence to stop police arresting him. The ex-Prime Minister is accused of corruption. Prosecutors say he sold state gifts given by foreign leaders while he was Pakistan's leader. Khan denies the charges, saying they are politically motivated, and called on his supporters to rise up.
Police
have arrived outside to arrest me, he told them in a video address. They think when Imran Khan goes to prison, the nation will sleep. But you have to prove them wrong, he added. More police arrived, but the numbers of Khan supporters grew too. The stalemate later turned violent. Riot police used tear gas and water cannons to try to quell the angry group who chanted anti-government slogans. Police were trying to get to Khan, who was holed up inside his house. The former cricketer says authorities are arresting him to prevent him from taking part in this year's elections.
Surrounded his residence and bombarded with shelling and plain water mixed with dangerous chemicals. We are feeling burning in our skin, in our hands, in our eyes.
The government says the officers are carrying out a court order and Khan is rallying his supporters to act as a human shield. Many in Lahore and other cities did take to the streets.
We're just sitting here, we're just standing here with our Prime Minister Imran Khan. That's our right.
Later on Wednesday, police appeared to be drawing back after Khan signed a surety bond to appear in an Islamabad court on Saturday. He says he is resigned to spending some nights in a prison cell, but Khan has vowed to clear his name, rally supporters and launch another bid to lead Pakistan. David Garrett, TVB News.
Locally, the Legislative Council's Establishment Subcommittee approved the establishment of 7 regular non-civil service posts for the Chief Executive's policy unit. An annual budget of $25 million will be allocated to it, but some lawmakers are skeptical about the effectiveness of the body. Timothy Lee reports.
In a bid to boost efficiency, a new governmental body was introduced under Chief Executive John Lee's administration. Known as the Chief Executive's Policy Unit, the body suggested the establishment of 7 regular non-civil servant positions of administrative officer staff grades to replace its civil service counterparts. The new proposal will create a team containing 3 deputy heads and 4 assistant heads, all paid salaries similar to that of the CEPU Chief of Administrative Officer Staff Grade 2 to 4 rank. A yearly budget of $25 million will be allocated to the new team. One of the new CEPU heads with an Administrative Officer Staff Grade 4 rank will have a monthly salary of around $250,000. That's roughly the salary of several current undersecretaries. A similar body to the CEPU called the Central Policy Unit was established under all 4 previous chief executives. But some lawmakers remain skeptical of the proposal and question the practicality of similar bodies in the past. Legislator Lo Wai Kwok criticized the now disbanded Central Policy Unit for failing to introduce innovative policies and remains uncertain about its successor. This as the head of the CEPU and former lawmaker Stephen Wong noted that the budget for his unit will strive for opinions from all parties and innovation in its research. He reiterated the chief executive's stance on the need for civil servants to constantly improve their service to Hong Kong. The Establishment Subcommittee then adopted the proposal, which will be submitted to the Finance Committee for further consideration. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The Consumer Council tested 30 samples of dried meat snacks available on the market. They found 13 of them to contain polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, a possible carcinogenic contaminant. Almost all samples tested high for sugar and sodium. Mimosa Ngai tells us more.
In Hong Kong, dry meat snacks such as beef jerky, pork floss, and pork crisps are popular. The Consumer Council tested the food safety of 30 dry meat treats on the market, with prices ranging between $11.5 and $170. Among them, 9 pork jerky and 4 beef jerky samples were found to contain polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which are possible carcinogenic contaminants. This beef jerky sample from Manhunt was found to have the highest level of PAH, exceeding the European Union limit by more than 50%. However, the company told the consumer watchdog their products are made traditionally, using smoking and grilling methods. The council also found these pork crisps from Lin Zhenheng contained the metabolite of the banned veterinary drug, furosemide. While experiments show the drug may cause cancers in animals, there's insufficient evidence of its effects on humans. Nonetheless, the watchdog urged the public to be cautious.
For consumers, if you're really conscious about your health, we advise, that the fact that, probably, you should avoid to have a product, to consume a product that contains, the veterinary drugs.
Moreover, all 30 samples have high sugar levels, with one sample containing 9.4 grams of sugar per 20 grams of serving. The sodium level in all samples is also high, except one meat floss sample, which had sodium content ranging from 750 milligrams to 1,900 milligrams per 100 grams. While dried meat snacks are delicious, the council reminds the public to avoid over-consuming processed meats to reduce the risk of colorectal cancer. Mimosa Nai, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thanks for watching.